Hey, it's Greg Otten here with MaritimeGardening.com, and today I'm going to take this garden right here behind me and turn it into a strawberry garden. It's first week of September 2018, and I find that's a good time to move strawberries and prepare space for the following year. A lot of my existing strawberry patches have lots of runners that have already rooted a little bit, so it's relatively easy to take those and move them and put them into a new place. And this is a good time of year to do it. So, because that way next spring they'll sort of be established and hit the ground running, so to speak. So I'm going to bring you along with me and just walk you through the different aspects of this task from start to finish, and share some insights and ramble a little bit and so on and so forth. So come along. Alright, so this garden right here, I prepared this space a number of years ago, and the soil is still not 100%. I've got some, I think it's good to plant the same kind of thing you've got in a really good garden in a garden you're not so sure about, and compare the difference. And then you know whether it's your soil or not, because it's not, you know, everything here gets about the same amount of light, give or take, right? If I get different results with the same plant in two different places, it's because the soil is not the same. So I got some Swiss chard growing in this garden, and I got Swiss chard growing in a garden over there. And the Swiss chard growing in the garden over there is 2 feet high. And the Swiss chard growing here, I mean, it's growing and it's doing okay, but it ain't no 2 feet high. So, and also I planted, this year I grew garlic. So this garden season, right, I've already picked them all, but this was a garlic garden. And the bed right just to the left of where you are, or I guess to the right of where you are, that was a garlic garden. But that's a garden with really good soil, so I got really big 3-inch, you know, honkin' garlic out of that bed. Whereas in this bed, the garlic weren't as big. So the garlic weren't as big as in other places, same kind of garlic. And the Swiss chard, not as big as in other places. So it's the soil, right? It's not anything other than that, it's just the soil. Anyway, how do you improve soil? There's lots of different ways you can do it, but I find just adding mulches and being patient tends to work pretty good. Also, growing things that aren't too fussy is a good way to deal with poor soils, like growing beans, right? And I find that strawberries aren't really too fussy. I mean, the better the soil, the better it is, but because they're perennial, right, their roots, you know, they grow for multiple years, so the roots get bigger and deeper. And so because they've got sort of extensive root systems, and because you're always mulching your strawberries, they're just better at getting what they need, right? They've got multiple years to develop the feeding system that they need to be healthy plants. So, you know, it's sort of it's a good place to park. You know, if you've got a garden that's not doing the best, instead of doing a ridiculous amount of work to bring the soil up, why don't you just park something there that isn't quite so fussy with soils? And just keep mulching it, and the worms will take care of improving your soil for you over time, right? So while you're waiting for the worms to do their work and make the soil good, stick something in there that's not so damn fussy and enjoy it, right? Make it easy on yourself. So this had a good mulch on it. This is just hay as a mulch, and there's millions of seeds in with this mulch, but it seems to have worked out just fine anyway. It hasn't gotten any weeds. So I'm going to go get some strawberries and stick them in. So come along. So here's a strawberry bed that I put in the spring, and so everything here is a fairly young plant, especially the runners. And you can see right here, I'm going to zoom in a bit, right here on the outside edge of that rock, right outside the garden, there's a strawberry plant growing, and I can see the little runner vine. Right, so I don't want it to grow there because I'll just end up stepping on it anyway. And it's a nice, young, healthy plant, and it's only 6 feet from the garden I want to stick it in, so that's kind of ideal. So let's get this thing out of here. So I'm just going to move the rocks out of the way. Great thing about using rocks, they're so portable. Actually, it doesn't have any roots at all, but I'm confident I can get this to grow. So what I like to do is snap the runner off right at the plant. Okay, so it's quite vulnerable at this stage. Let me move it in a bit closer to the camera. Right, it's quite vulnerable at this stage because it's only got these sort of like beginning roots. So I need to get that in the ground and watered right away, and then also covered, put something over top of it to keep the sun off it, to just give it a little bit of a break while it adjusts. So let's get that in the ground over here right now. Alright, so I'm going to plant this guy right here. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see me a bit better. See what I'm doing. There we go. Pretty good. Each plant has about a 1 foot. It needs about a 1 foot space around it. So I'm going to stick it right here. What I find is good is just to bury the whole runner and everything. You want to put these little root things in contact with the soil, right? And then I like to take the runner and sort of bury that a bit too. I have a funny, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like the runner might help take things up a little bit. Right, and then just move the mulch back in around the plant to sort of hold it the way you want it. Right, now I need to water this immediately and cover it. Alright, so give it a good watering. There we go. That was maybe half a gallon of water for that plant. And I got some old, these are like old bean plants that aren't good anymore. They're just sort of done producing. So I'm just going to put these over it. Just for now, for about a week. I'll leave this here like that for about a week. And that'll give the plant a little break from the sun and let it adapt. Right? After that week I'll take these all off and I'll run over these with my lawnmower and throw them back on with a bunch of hay and stuff like that. Yeah, there's still some beans on there, but these are all woody and really no good to eat. I know people are like, hey, you left beans on that plant. It's like, yeah, they're no good. Alright, just going to collect a few more of these runners, the ones that look good, the ones that look ready. So here's one that actually has gone to root and even produced some berries. So this one's sort of ideal. I'll just move this rock out of the way a bit. See if I can get at the roots a bit without mucking them up too bad. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good set of roots on there. Almost looks like a bare root. That one's perfect. That's the sort of one that's the sort of ideal. This one will have ideal even if there's a clump of soil attached. It's even better, right? This one's got a much better chance of survival than that first one I planted. And if some of them don't make it, it's no big deal. I have like an infinite supply of these things, right? So that's why it's always worth trying, right? Here's another one that it's I got wild strawberries here too, which is a real problem. I don't want them. I got some weeding to do here. Certain weeds are a problem, and wild strawberries are a major problem. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Let's leave that for now. So I'll snip this runner. Another wild strawberry here. Throw it over there. Alright, let's get this guy out. I think I can get this guy out just using my hands. Yep, good set of roots on that guy. I'll take this runner off here. Usually each runner has you'll have the initial plant and then it'll send out another one too. I mean, strawberries are really good at colonizing spaces. Anyway, this one has really nothing coming off the bottom, so it's really not worth my time. I've got so many plants kicking around, I can just use the good ones. I need about 6 for that space, I think, give or take. So Just keep going along this edge. These are just the ones that are growing into my walking path, so they're in the way anyway. This is a day neutral variety of strawberries they're producing right now. They're making some nice, beautiful, juicy red. Oh man, that's good. Juicy red strawberries. Oh, that's good. All right. Got another one here. This one's actually well rooted in the ground. Really in there. Let's cut this off. Got two. I got this guy and this guy right here. There's the parent there. So I'll take this guy first. This is more wild strawberries, which we do not want. Man, that's the problem. Alright, so let's see if we can get this guy out of here. You know what, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a rabbit in this garden, because two of these stems have been bitten off. And I know porcupines eat these, and if porcupines eat strawberry greens, then rabbits probably do too. No, anyway, have to deal with that guy some other time. That's an ideal situation. Get some soil on there. Let's get this guy out too. That's a nice one. I mean, this is just a garden that I put together in the spring, and already it's creating all these runners, right? So, you know, if you know someone with strawberries, and it's this time of year, go to their house and ask them if you can grab a few of the runners. I mean, the runners need to be pruned or dealt with anyway, right? You sort of don't want every strawberry producing 10 new plants every year. Every strawberry will produce at least 2 or 3 plants every year at least, right? And really, it's in a strawberry's 3rd or 4th year that you want it producing new plants, because after the 3rd year the production of the strawberry starts to decrease. So 1st year you want to cut all the runners off, 2nd year you want to cut all the runners off, 3rd year you probably want to cut them off, or 3rd year is the year you want to take some runners and move them to a new space, right? To get the optimum, to get the most out of the plant. And there's other approaches to that too. I could do another video on that. There's another way of dealing with that. Right. There's usually more than one way to do most things, and especially gardening. There's another runner right there. Nice one with some roots on it. I've almost got enough. I've only been pulling runners out of like a tiny little area, and these are just the ones that have gone out of the garden. So that's pretty easy. Alright, so it's been about 3 weeks to a month since I put these strawberries in the ground, and I just thought I'd show you how they're doing. So these the beans that I put on top to sort of shield them from the sun have all been destroyed by frost and so on and so forth. I'm just going to move these out of the way so you can see a little better. I'd leave them on there if I wasn't shooting a video. They're not going to hurt anything. It's just a mulch really, but anyway. Oh, there's a weed. Let's pull that guy out. So there we are. So what do we got here? We got, I think, maybe only one that didn't make it, right? So this row is good. 1, 2, 3. These two are good. But this one here, all the rest of them are okay. But this one here seems to have died. And this one has almost no root system, right? So I was running a risk with those ones with undeveloped roots, right? Sometimes they take and sometimes they don't. You just never know. That one didn't make it. That's okay, I got plenty more. So I'm planting another one of these gardens today. So maybe I'll show you that as well, but anyway. So right now it's around, what is it? The end of the first week of October. For me, it's a little bit late to be moving strawberries, but I think I can probably get away with it. It's worth trying, right? I got a couple other gardens that I want to turn into strawberry gardens because I'm changing the organization of my garden. I don't want the strawberries to be where they have been growing. It's not a good place for them. So I want to give them some better real estate. So I got some other places where I want to stick them in. So, you know, that's how you do it. If you're thinking about doing it right now, if you've got a source of rooted runners, I'd try it. What do you got to lose? Right? For me, especially, I've got hundreds of these in the garden, so it's not a big deal if it doesn't work out. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 more beds. I'm going to try to do that today. I've got a good day for it, and we'll see what happens, right? And I'm not going to cover these over. I'm going to let them get as much sun as they can get, so they can continue to grow and continue to develop their root systems, and hopefully they make it through the winter. I will cover them over in December with straw if I can get a source of it, or hay. So anyway, that's how I do it. I hope that was useful for you and gave you some ideas. If you got a buddy or someone with strawberries with runners and they're generous, I'd run over there right away and try to get some of the better ones that I showed you when I was pulling them out and get them in the ground. I mean, and I'm speaking relative to my climate and where I am here, right in Nova Scotia, Canada. It's zone 6A. Our falls tend to be, we get frosts and stuff like that. Strawberry can take a bit of frost, but it doesn't get like super cold here in the frost. Right close to the Atlantic Ocean, it tends to be a sort of, all things being equal, we do the odd time we have an insane snowstorm in the middle of November or whatever, but that's rare. Usually, you know, the winter comes on a bit slowly here, at least on the coastal part of the province. And if I'm lucky, I'm doing things like harvesting kale right up till Christmas. It really stops growing, I would say, around the end of November, but you know, the plants can sort of take the cold, right? So anyway, I'm just telling you all that and giving extra detail. Just, you know, if you live in some place like northern Alberta or something like that, this is probably out for you right now. But if you're on the eastern seaboard of the United States, if you're in a coastal region, if you're some place where, you know, anywhere where you don't have to, your soil doesn't freeze till mid to late December. Let's put it that way, right? Generally speaking, where I live, the soil doesn't start to freeze till mid to late December, give or take, right? Sometimes earlier, sometimes later. It's always frozen by the end of December usually, but that's the sort of thing, a better way to look at it, right? Because 6A doesn't mean anything. Saying I'm in zone 6A just tells you how, you know, how cold it can get in the winter. Maximum low or minimum low, the coldest it can possibly get. That's really all it's speaking to, not to oversimplify. There's a broad range of kinds of climates and microclimates that can exist within a framework like that. So 6A doesn't mean much. It's really about how much time does the plant have for its root to get established in the ground. And it's only going to do that if it's warm enough for the plant to be in a growing, rooting mode, right? And strawberries are a pretty cold weather plant. They don't mind some cold. They can take a bit of cold. And they start growing in April, right? So I would say any soil temperature probably above 5 or 8 degrees Celsius, right? As long as the soil is above that temperature, there's probably activity going on down there. Don't quote me on that, but just roughly speaking, I think it's probably safe. So I think it's probably worth giving it a try this time of year. Not much. I wouldn't throw a pile of money at it. I wouldn't go out and order a bunch of barewood strawberries online and plant them right now. That's probably a bit of a risky venture with your money. But if you've got a free source of semi-rooted runners, give it a try, right? And next year you can hit the ground running. I hope you found that interesting, and if you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com, and until next time, get out there, get at it, and have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.